Hello, and let's talk sacking coaches. And this is take two. Sorry if you're on the first one, but the first one got interrupted by a phone call. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind Driving More, and I'm going to be talking about sacking coaches today. Obviously, we've had the Mike Ford leaving Toulon by mutual consent, which is kind of part of the trigger for this. But back in February, at Crown St James got in touch via Twitter and asked me about Jim Mallender at Saints and whether he should still be there or whether he should be sacked along the way. So please do get in touch, because yes, I do use these your ideas for videos, and you can have your own one done for you. By the way, also at not at Driving Mall, www.drivingmall.com is about to pass 400,000 views, so please do go and have a read there, and thank you very much for everyone who has done some reading. So this whole sacking of managers or leaving by mutual consent mid-season is a new kind of thing. I was reminded that Dean Richards was let go from Tigers mid-season, but that was an exception rather than the rule. Over this last sort of 12 months or so, that has kind of changed. We really kicked off with the Reds letting their coach go a couple of weeks into the season down in Australia. The Force followed suit during the international break in Super Rugby, and their head coach went as well. Then we came to the Aviva Premiership, and just prior to the season, Dean Ryan jumped ship from Worcester Warriors, and obviously Bristol parted way with their director of rugby fairly soon into the season. Tigers have since then have got rid of 2 directors of rugby, and Toulon the same have also got rid of 2 directors of rugby. So that's something like 7 directors of rugby that have gone during the season, plus Dean Ryan, and that doesn't include all of the assistant coaches, defence coaches, etc. There'll be a number of those that go mid-season as well. Now, you'll see some people talking about this as being the footballification of rugby and the sort of instant win nature now, and there is going to be some sort of balancing act, because one of the things we've seen talking about football is that it doesn't really kind of work, this getting rid of a manager. If you look at someone like Alex Ferguson, for example, he had a poor start to his time at Man United, but went on to become the most successful Premiership manager ever. And if you look in rugby, we see something kind of similar as well. If we look at the top sort of 3 teams in the Premiership currently, in Wasps, Saracens and Exeter, all 3 of those have got managers who have been there for a while, have had time to mould the squad and the club into the shape they want, and that is bringing success. The problem is people can outstay their welcome, and that I think we saw at Harlequins with Conor O'Shea, where he obviously took Quins to the Aviva Premiership title and did very well with them, but then in his last couple of seasons they definitely fell away, and some of the comments he was coming out with in the press to me felt delusional, and I think it was right that he needed to move on, and perhaps should have moved on even sooner. In some ways, I think we're seeing probably something similar with Jim Mallender at Saints, another guy who has taken the club to the Aviva Premiership title, but and then now is starting to slip off along the way, and perhaps it's time for him to move on, and a fresh set of a fresh voice is needed there. And Jim Mallender, having won the competition, clearly he is a good coach, but perhaps he needs a new environment to build. Now, for me, I wouldn't do that mid-season. I would look at doing that at the end of the season and already start the search for his replacement, if that is what they're going to do. If you do it mid-season, quite often it's very rare that you'll find that the replacement you want is available. In Tigers' situation, O'Connor is coming in at the beginning of next season in Bristol, and you've got Pat Lam arriving at the beginning of next season as well. So you've got two clubs there that have got rid of their managers mid-season, are kind of a bit rudderless, and now have got the next man coming in the future. So I think giving someone around might be and keeping the steady hand on the tiller might be a better move. There are obviously exceptions to that. Andy Robertson at Bristol, someone was saying if you look at the amount of games, sort of key games that he won at his time at Bristol over those years, were very few. He had a good winning record, but a lot of that could be down to the chequebook rather than his ability as a coach, and should he have even come into the Premiership. At the Reds, again, I felt that the head coach there was a dead man walking as he entered the season and was unlikely to make it through. So there are exceptions to the rule, as well as when you perhaps where generally you've put off the decision already, that maybe you should make the decision mid-season, but that's mainly because you've not had the guts or the backbone to make that decision in the previous off-season. Otherwise, I think it should be done in the off-season and bring a new person in. Someone like, let's say, continuity is something that does breed success. If you look at someone like Gloucester, for example, who aren't doing that great, at least they've given Humphreys and Laurie Fisher a stab at it a number of years before they decided it was time to move on. And obviously, Ackerman is coming in for next season. So I'm not sure about how I forgot to list Laurie Fisher, the list of head coaches that have gone mid-season. So actually, we're up to 8 now over the last sort of just over 12 months. So just pulling my train of thought back together again after that diversion. So yeah, so I think giving people a time and then to settle in, mould the club into their image is the right thing to do. Keeping an eye out that just because someone has been successful, you need to check that they're continuing to be successful and still got the structures in place that the club needs to keep moving on, because people do have a set time frame before, and they do need fresh challenges, are all things that should be there. I don't agree with this trigger happy, give a person 2 or 3 months. I think you should give them at least 2 seasons before making that decision. So thank you very much for watching, and if you like this, and please do share it on Twitter, or give it the old thumbs up on YouTube, and also please do support Driving More. You become a patron via the link above in Twitter or in the notes below. From as little as $1 a month, it really does mean the world to me, all my patrons, and helping me out trying to make this an ongoing thing, and me produce it for free for you guys. So thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you all tomorrow.